The making of belts is the #1 project made by leather crafters. More belts are made than any other project. Belts are also the projects that experience the most mistakes made by crafters, mostly having to do with sizing. So let's begin the program by talking about this situation. Ask anyone their belt size and they will normally tell you their pant size, especially men who usually do not know their belt size. The size of their pants are usually smaller than their actual belt size due to the give in the material in their pants, especially those made of the stretch fabrics. The sizes of commercially made belts are usually not accurate, as they usually measure the belt to the last hole rather than the center hole, which is the proper way to do it. Ladies' belt requirements are tricky as well. Women may or may not wear their belts at their waist, especially wearing jeans, which probably rest lower on the hips, altering the belt size greatly. Let's take a look at a page from the Lucky 8 belt book. Here we have an illustration of several belts. The belt size is from the buckle where the tongue goes through the hole to the center hole on the tip end. Now, if it's a trophy style buckle, it will be a little different because the buckle is larger. It will be from where the buckle hooks to the center hole. One of the best ways to measure for a belt is to wear the trousers just where you normally would do it. Take a soft measuring tape and go through the loops and pull it up snug. And this then will tell me that I should wear a 42-inch belt. The absolute best and most accurate way to measure for a belt size is to use the belt the person is wearing now. It'll go from the point where the tongue goes over the bar down to the hole that the person is now using, not necessarily the center hole or the first or last hole, the hole that the wearer is using. That will become the center hole of the new belt. To make a belt, the first thing we need is a strip of leather, preferably 8 to 9 ounce vegetable tanned leather, and we need to prepare one end, as you see here, with snaps in a slot for the buckle tongue. In this case, this was a belt blank you can buy just the way you see it. Otherwise, we can cut our own from good quality 8 to 9 ounce vegetable tanned leather, and we'll show you how to begin that process. The first thing we need to do is put a straight edge on our leather, as you see me doing here. This can be cut from either a double shoulder or from a side. I prefer a side because we can cut with the grain as opposed to across the grain. Next, we will use the strap cutter. We'll set it to the proper width, start it, and holding it tight against the edge, simply pull. Using the information contained in the Belts Galore and the Lucky 8 belt books, it's a good idea to make yourself some templates to design and make the ends of your belts. By the way, my template is made from lightweight cardboard, so now I can just place it at one end of my strip. Now this end is the end toward the neck of the hide, which will be softer and easier to skive. It will also mean that the other end is in a better part of the hide, so that will wear better. Using a good poly board, a strap end punch, and on top of a piece of marble, we'll now cut the tip end or the buckle end. Next, I will find the spot where the slot would be, which is right here, and I'll turn it over, and then I'll mark in back of that a little bit, and we will now skive that area using the skiving knife of your choice. We will carefully skive this end until we have it down to about 1/2 of this thickness that it was originally. Now we will punch holes for our snaps. I'll punch about 1/4 of an inch hole in the first part here. Now this is will receive the female part of the snap. You always put that on this end because it sticks up further and will cause the belt to have problems coming through the loop if you put them on the other side. On the other side, we'll take one that's about 3/32 or so, and we will punch 2 holes to match the other 2. And finally, we will use the oblong punch, and we'll punch those, or punch that hole right here. This is where the tongue will come through. And now our buckle end is all ready for the snaps. It doesn't really matter what kind of a pattern you're going to put on your belt, whether it's something you're going to trace from a tracing pattern like this or from a plastic template as you see here. These have border lines on them. I would highly suggest that you do not use these border lines. Put your border lines on with a wing divider. It's very difficult to line up your borders if you try to do them with the pattern. So do them with a wing divider. And I would recommend that this time that you take your swivel knife and cut your border if that's the kind of a border you're going to use. And after we have cut the borders, it's now very easy to see through our tracing and see the lines as well as with the plastic template. And now we will have a perfect border all the way up and down our belt. After our tooling is all done, then it's time to finish the edges. We'll do that with an edge beveler and a slicker. First thing we'll do is we will take the edge beveler and we will cut the edge off of the top and the bottom side. Finally, we will dampen the edge with water. We have left this sit for a few minutes to soak in, and now we'll use the slicker to slick the edge of our belt. And after we get this nice and slick and shiny, then you can apply the edge finish of your choice.